Shabbat Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Hunting Line with Dael. Once again, I'm bringing to you a teaching. I want to do these teachings on video so you can get the visual and see what we're going through here and see what you learn. Because a lot of people are like me. I learn visually by watching things, and I'm hoping this will do the same thing with you. Today I want to do something. There's been some questions asked about, and there's a lot of things going on out there. What happens when you die? Where do you go? Do you go to heaven? Do you go to hell? Where do you go, or what happens when you die? Well, we're going to make some things very clear in the scripturally, about what happens when you die. Now I want to make the very first thing clear. A lot of the things that we've heard today about hellfire, Hades, and all this, let's do that is Greek mythology. Okay?
And Zoroaster.
That is what?
And Zoroaster.
And Zoroaster. That is not scriptural. Okay, there's no word in the Bible that says when you die you go to heaven. There's no word in the Bible that says when you die you go to hell. Okay, so what happens if there's no word? And if anybody can find those, please contact me and show me where it's in your scriptures that we go straight to heaven or we go straight to hell. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no place there. That is Greek mythology, and unfortunately, our churches and religions today take that and they combine it in and dilute the true word and make their own thing. So what happens when you die? Well, first of all, let's take a look at one thing that we do have in common with, and that is fire. Okay? What happens with fire? What is the three elements that make up the body of fire? All right, well, first of all, fire has heat. And we had a triangle. This is what you learn when you go into the fire departments and stuff. You have to learn about fire, because fire is a breathing, eating, living organism that has heat, fuel, and oxygen. Without these three, fire does not exist. You take away any one of these, it ceases to exist. Okay? But guess what? Our body is pretty much lined up the same way that this is here. Okay, we have three elements. Caleb, read 2 Genesis chapter 2, verse 7.
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
Okay. Elohim created his body, correct? Is that what it says?
Formed man out of the dust of the
ground.
ground.
Body from the dust of the ground.
Breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, to be Ruach.
The Ruach, which is spirit in English.
And man became a living soul.
A living soul. Now, isn't this what we're told that we are compiled of? Body, soul, and spirit. Take away any one of these elements, guess what? We cease to exist. Caleb, come here. If Caleb was Adam in the garden, take Adam. He was formed. We know it says that he was formed. So it took time, molded him, and shaped him to be identical to him in his likeness. Okay? Was he living at that time? No. Because what he said he had to do, he had to breathe his spirit into his nostrils. Then what happened? Then he became a live spirit, or a live body. Kicking and breathing and dancing and whatever else he does here. Okay, that's the thing I want you to dance. Dance like a white boy. Okay? So, now, what happens if you take away one of these elements? So you take away, say he's old age and he dies. We know what happens. It says that what goes back to Yahweh? The spirit is returned. That breath of life that he put into him, his spirit.
There you go.
His spirit actually goes back into the breath. So once the breath is gone, what do you have? Only the body and the soul. Okay? Now if you take the soul away, what do you have?
Dust.
Body and the spirit once again goes back to Yahweh. So therefore, where you go, what happens when this is gone? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I'll get you back, don't worry. So what happens here when he's going to sleep, or the Bible calls it the sleep. They said David knows nothing because he sleeps. So if you don't have, let's just say, take away his body, spirit what? Goes back to Yeshua. What about the soul?
Show.
Okay. I think the word there is called the soul goes to Sheol or the ground. And I think this is very specified for the grave. Boy, that's not great. We know what? We can verify this as the ground also, because what happened when when Cain killed Abel? It said his blood, his neck, his soul did what? Cried from the ground. Now, how many times do we see this same thing happen in Scripture? In Revelation, I think it says that it asks, when is our blood going to be justified? I can't remember the actual verse in. And there's a thing there that says from the altar. And he asked anybody in Israel about that saying that altar, from underneath the altar, means anybody who's died in Israel. They're crying about their blood when they don't be revenged. So, if one of these things are removed, then what happens? I'm going to have to turn over and turn to Wade. Because here, Wade's pretty much understands this a lot too. Am I correct in saying that one of these, what happens when one of these are removed? Are you really, some people call it soul sleep. Some people call it just other things.
You have no more conscious life.
No more consciousness. Now, when Yeshua was buried for 3 days after he passed away, he was rested. Now, he also had to put his trust and faith in the Ruach HaKodesh to bring him back also, correct? Would that be a correct statement? And he says, like Yeshua, we have that same reward coming to us for believing on him. So if, say, we'll look at our friend Christopher down here. If Christopher had died today and he's living in Yeshua, he has that promise that even though the spirit that was given to him goes back to the Father, and his soul, his blood, and everything goes to the ground, to the grave with his body, he still has that promise that when Yeshua comes back, it says his reward is with us, which is that reward is eternal life. He will bring back and give us a new body. Is that not what it says? What Paul says? We receive a new body. We get that spiritual body.
The immortal body.
The mortal spiritual body. But we have our same soul. Because he knows who we are already. And I think that's where we lose the context of, and we don't understand, well, how can he put our soul back into us? Ladies and gentlemen, you got to remember, he is Elohim. He knows everything from the beginning to the end, the Aleph and the Tav, or the Alpha and Omega in the King James. Okay? So, yes, you sleep, but...
Yeah, I've got the scripture.
Go ahead.
Psalm 16. Therefore my heart is glad and my glory rejoices. My flesh also will rest in hope. For you will not leave my soul in Sheol, will you allow your Holy One to see corruption.
What verse is that?
It's in Psalm 16, 9 and 10. And Peter applied that to Yeshua. His soul wasn't left in Sheol.
Okay. So, as the minute we die, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be like just waking up the next morning and we're going to have our bodies back. We had no such time. In fact, Wade made it clear, we had no such time, no consciousness or anything like that. So everything's pretty much, we're sleeping. You know nothing. Then all of a sudden, boom, your eyes are going to be open and you're going to be whisked up with Yeshua and taken to Jerusalem, where he will put his foot on the Mount of Olives, split it east to west, and then carry his bride over the threshold into Jerusalem and set up his kingdom. Is that pretty good, fair?
Look at it this way. You have
The way I understand it.
with fire you have heat, fuel, and oxygen. You take away one of those, you don't have a fire anymore. But all three parts still exist. Same way with the body, spirit, and soul. Take away one, you don't have a living person anymore, but it doesn't mean anything is gone.
Exactly. Doesn't mean it's gone. It just means that that one particular thing just does not exist anymore.
Yeah, I got
Together it
another
does.
The body will decompose, but the physical elements of which it was made is still going to be somewhere in the
Yeah,
universe.
it's like I say, it's formed from dust.
And which is
carbon.
where He rebuilds our new bodies, which we get our spirit back. And so people don't give Yeshua or give Yahweh the credit to know what He's doing to do this. But they want to think that linear thinking, that Greek thinking, think linear and logical. Or, He doesn't do that. He's always like this. He's always going around in cycles.
Yeah, and in 1 Thessalonians it pretty much confirms that at the end in 5:23 it says, "And may the Elohim of peace sanctify you all perfectly, and keep blameless your whole spirit and your soul and your body till the coming of our Master Yeshua Mashiach."
I think it pretty much seals it.
How dare you speak that
Ladies and
way?
gentlemen, we have to get off this logical.
Linear, that's the word you're looking for.
Logical, linear thinking. This is the wrong way to think. Okay? Because our Creator does not think this way. Again, He is constantly in cycles. Constantly. Everything you look back is in constant cycles. This is what we have to get back to. Our roots, the Hebraic roots, the Eastern way of thinking. If you stay on this Greek logical linear pathway, you're going to end up on the wrong path. Okay? This is the only path. I think somebody told me one day that the sign of infinity, like that's pretty much the same thing. Just a constant.
You guys said that, wasn't it?
Huh?
Was it me that said that?
No, there's somebody, there's a woman that was telling me about it. You may have done it too. But constant. And one thing I like about it is here, it's the figure 8. What does 8 mean?
New beginnings.
New beginnings. New beginnings. So it's everything starts over, back over again. So, we have any questions, any comments?
If you want me to, I'll add something to you.
Come on up, brother.
Triangle there.
Come on up.
That's a pretty picture. I like that picture. Oh, nice taking away the other one.
Are you going to take
Okay,
Destructive.
I'm based on the Greek manuscripts, but
He's going to teach us all for a second.
because of my background, Caleb can probably give the Aramaic for these. See, in the Greek text, the body is soma. Which we could literate like that. This body, the physical elements put together. Okay, so that's the psyche, which just transliterated is our word
Psyche.
psyche. Then you have spirit, which is pneumatos.
What form of it is that?
Just look at the first part and you see P-N-E-U. Like in pneumonia, see, it has to do with air, see, breath, see. All right, pneumatos, spirit, that's an unseen force. See, spirit, it can also, like, we're talking about the Hebrew word here now, ruach. which can be air, breath, or spirit, or wind. See, I could look out the window there. I cannot see the wind, but I can see what it's doing to the tree. See, you can see what it does. What it does produce the effect it produces, even though you don't see it. Okay, so there's your three. Matthew 10:28. Yeshua says, "But rather fear him who has the power to destroy both body and soul." I believe it's backwards, really, from the way it is in the King James. Both soul and body. Pasuche kaisoma. Fear him who has power to destroy both body and soul in Gehenna fire. But it doesn't say anything about spirit being destroyed. Okay? Take first cap of that. In Ecclesiastes 3. Now this is written by Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived. And I would say he may have had the most scientific mind that ever existed too. He studied things like ant colonies. Verse 19 says, "For the fate of the sons of men and the fate of the beasts is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. Indeed, they all have the same breath, ruach, pneumatos. And there is no advantage for man over beast, for all is vanity. All go to the same place. Man or animal wind up the same. All came from the dust, and all return to the dust. Who knows that the ruach of man ascends upward, and the breath of the beast descends downward to the earth?" Now, some people try to make out like that's just what kind of a question? Rhetorical question. But really, he is making the statement that that's actually what happened. All you got to do is look over chapter 12 verse 7. "Then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the ruach will return to God who gave it." See, after death, the spirit is preserved, ready to be plugged into a new body that has the personal memories, knowledge, personality, the whole bit that has been preserved. That body can be a regenerated physical body, or it can be an immortal body.
I got a question here. Some people will often, whenever you talk about this, they'll bring up Lazarus. And Lazarus being sent into Sheol, he was burning up, and he needed water for his,
The parable of Lazarus and the rich man.
Yeah.
The parable.
It's a parable.
That's a whole other subject to deal with.
Yeah, that is a whole different subject, and actually that was old, if I'm not mistaken, if I was told correctly, that was a scroll that was going around teaching lessons about things on Israel and Judah itself.
Yeah, it is a little allegory in it. Because the man has 5 brothers. Judah has
Okay, it is from a Greek word. Greek.
it's
A Greek book
Hellenistic Jewish.
that in that particular parable, fable, whatever, that was something that people were aware of. So Yeshua was just giving it as a point of reference to make a point that he was making. Now there's 2 or 3 different ways you could take that, but that's, like I say, I studied it itself, and I couldn't do it off the top of my head.
Basically, the premise.
But I would point out, if the rich man was being consumed flames, why would he ask for one drop of water on his tongue? It needs to be barrels at least to get some relief with it.
It would. And the same thing about it is the bosom of Abraham. If everybody was in there, how come only one person was in the bosom of Abraham? Because Abraham only got a small bosom, he's a human. So how can the whole?
That's what they call the area.
It has to do with more aerial things. So people do take that out, they take that out of context. They don't actually get into it. But here it's completed. I mean, and I love how Wade went into the Greek and even gave some of the Hebrew words here for this. And
The Sar, Ruach.
like I say, it's just like fire. You take one element away, you don't have the main element is gone. And he's going to do the Ruach with those, which is air, breath, and spirit.
Nope. Can't.
It's not nice to hit.
That's all.
That's all it takes, that's right.
Now, give us a word picture on this. Wade.
I don't think I can do it right off the top of my head.
So what is, okay, give us this letter here. It's
Resh.
which
Yeah.
means
And
the head.
Vol,
Vol.
Dael, that is something that attaches.
Tattoo.
Okay, and that is a fence that encloses, can either hem it in or enclose or protect.
It shows that they're dependent upon one another. All three elements of your little triangle there are dependent upon one another. You can also do a word picture with the last character there, furthest from the word ruach, and you see that it looks like a house, something that's encompassed.
The head that's fenced in with the
Yep.
your air lungs. So, okay. Any more questions, comments? I want to thank Wade once again. I tell you, I love how Wade comes up and breaks it down, and Caleb is learning too. And I tell you what, his father and son team is going to be dynamite when they get together. I hope this clears up what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, if somebody dies, you don't have to worry about them burning in Hades or burning in hell, because you don't know what if they're believers or not. This right here, when it was showed to me, I had so much peace. You would not believe it, because I got family members who I worried about too. I'm going to say worried about who I was concerned about too. And I sat back and think about it is, this right here should give you relief that they're not burning in hell, that they're sleeping, and that their judgment will come when it's time for Yeshua, when he comes back and sets up his kingdom. Okay? Like I said, a majority of that came out of Greek mythology that has infiltrated our religious beliefs, that needs to be done away with and get back to the true principle of how Yahweh wants us for his beliefs, how he set things up. He himself said, my people were not made to burn. The hellfire itself was made for who? You did a study on this.
Devil and angels.
Satan and his angels, the ones that rebelled against him.
And the way that it describes it in Enoch is a little bit more like a black hole. Is what it's.
Well, Revelation tells us greater what it's going to be at the
He
end.
sees it's like almost like they're casting the sun. When I see it.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. So ladies and gentlemen, be at peace. Your loved ones are not burning in Hades and hell because we do not follow the Greek gods. Okay?
Nobody's
We follow-
been judged yet.
What?
Nobody's been judged yet.
Nobody's been judged yet. Exactly.
One point there, Hades and hell, see, again, going to the Greek text,
Hades is the equivalent of Sheol.
see, the Hades, that's just the Greek Hades. That's the mythological place where dead, what do they call it, souls instead of spirits.
The underworld.
See, people got all mixed up to get soul and spirit interchangeable. Anyway,
the souls go.
That's on the other side of the river Styx.
It's under the ground.
You ever notice how many church hymns have this theme on the other side of the river, on the beautiful shore and so forth? Well, is it talking about the Jordan River, or is it talking about Styx? Okay, then you have Gehenna.
That's hell.
That is the burning place. See, that is the name that was figured. See, the valley of Hinnom, in the Greek form Gehenna, that was the ravine that was the flaming garbage dump for Jerusalem. It's just a constant landfill, sort of it tossed stuff off the cliff into the fire down below, including the bodies of executed
It's
criminals.
where the pagans offered their babies to Moloch before they got there.
Right. That's where babies were burned previously. But Yeshua used that as the bigger picture of the lake of fire that speaks of.
Yeah, Hades is the equivalent of Sheol, and Gehenna is like the equivalent of hell, or whatever you want to call it.
If my understanding is correct, at a certain point, the surface of the earth will be burned off. Anything physical won't be around.
So that's where it says we'll walk on their ashes.
See, when you use that, you're talking about a historical event in the future. It's just one occurrence that will happen.
It will happen. I think that's after, if I'm not mistaken, it's after the millennium. When he
After
releases,
the white throne judgment.
and then he releases HaSatan, and those who follow HaSatan will come against the city of Jerusalem, and that's when he brings down the hellfire and destroy them at that point, destroy all around the world.
Yeah, that would be destroyed, but then you have the white throne judgment period. Then it's when you see the lake of fire period. See, you have to have the second resurrection first.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. After the second resurrection, and that's when he releases HaSatan, and then those will follow him, and that's when he brings down the hellfire onto everything except for where the saints are in the camp. That's what it says, I believe it was. That's where it says that he has to wipe away our tears, because we're going to know the loved ones are out there, but it also says that we'll walk on their ashes as his new world is created from that fire. So sweet. So I hope that breaks down things, ladies and gentlemen. It makes it a whole lot easier to understand and brings some relief to knowing that your loved ones are not being tortured as you've been taught in certain religions. Okay?
Please forward all complaints to Chris.
Do what?
Oh, God.
Please forward all complaints to Chris.
Yeah, please forward all complaints to Chris.
Don't I get enough?
So, no, if you have complaints, send them to me. I'll be glad to answer them, and I'll tell you the truth. Because if you understand, once you understand how like I say, I understand how fire works, this is how we learn in the fire department how to combat fire, because fire is a living, breathing organism until you take away one of its major things that it needs to live off of. Same way with their body, with us. We're the exact same way we fit into the same triangle. Okay? So let this be a common and soothing teaching for you to understand that your loved ones are not being tortured. They're not being tormented. Okay? Because everybody, the big thing I think within the Christian society is that your loved ones are, that they didn't believe in Jesus, that they're in hell being tortured by the devil and his minions. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. The devil and his minions are not in hell right yet. They are here on earth, and HaSatan himself goes from here to the throne to accuse us day and night. So if that knocks that out of the picture altogether right there. So as Paul says, run a good race, till the end, and then your judgment shall come.
Let me add one more from Solomon in the same book. The living know that they shall die, but the dead know nothing. Their thoughts perish. Their mental activity is ceased.
Exactly.
Unconscious.
Unconscious. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to Dael with the Hun Blind. I hope this has been a great teaching for you. If you have any questions, please send them to me. I'll try to get and show you to the best. If not, I'll take them and wait and show us a better thing. So until then, shalom, shalom. Love, peace, and chicken grease.